overloading everything. So let's start the program. Students are able to see the NetBeans screen what I shared with you.
Yes, sir.
On first. Okay. So here I will just start with the first program. So first program, what I did is I created a class named as first. Inside the class, we have a global variable int x equal to 5. So next to that, I created the main function public static void main. So inside the public static void main, I'm creating two objects. This is the example program for creating objects for a class. So what I did here, I created an object for the class first. So how to create object for the class? Class name space object name is equal to new class name. This is the way we have to create object for the class. Now I am creating the second object for the same class first. First obj2, my obj2 is equal to new first, open parenthesis, close parenthesis, semicolon. So next to this, I am calling the variable x equal to 5. I created outside of this main function. That particular variable I am calling with use of the object. So both the objects I am using, my obj1.x I am using, my obj1.x, what happens? It will just retrieve the value x through object 1 and it will print the output as 5. The same way my obj2.x I am printing. So here what happens? The same value x will be accessed and it will display as an output here. So what is the thing you have to understand how to create the class? So public class, you know the difference between four access specifiers: public, private, protected, and default. There are four different access specifiers we are having, and those access specifiers having different access methodologies. Public can be accessed anywhere in the package, and outside of the package we can able to access the public class. Private access specifier within the class itself we can able to access, and the third one, protected access, we can able to access within the class, and outside of the class we can access the particular class with use of inheritance concept. And the fourth one is default. Default mean by if you are not giving anything before the class, that will become under default. If you are having default access specifier, what happens? We can able to access the class within the package itself. Outside of the package, it's not possible to access the particular default class. That are the four different access specifier rules. According to that, we are just using public access specifier here. Inside the public access specifier, we are just creating the variable x equal to 5, and after that we are creating the main function. So inside the main function we are creating two objects that are said to be obj1 and obj2, and with use of obj1 we are calling x, and obj2 also we are calling x. So what happens here, it will print 5 and 5 for two times. So before this I want to display some statement. So what I am displaying here, I want to display using first object, using my obj1 object, my obj1 object. So this is the thing I want to display for first. So second one, what I am displaying here, I am giving double quotes, and I am just giving using my obj2 object. So I am giving space, and this plus mark I am giving. So here you have to understand the plus mark between two integers will be addition operation. The plus mark between two string variables will be concatenation operation. Here we are giving plus mark in the system.out.println. What happens? Using my object, it will print with space. After that, it will concatenate the x value. Here also using object to my object to object. So here it will just print the x value again. So plus will be the concatenation operator between the string and the integer. Okay. So let's execute this program. I am saving the program and I am executing the program by clicking run. Run file I have to give. While I'm giving run file, you can see the output. Are able to see the output, students? Are able to see the output?
Sir.
Okay. So here You can able to increase the font size for output. That I will show you. Okay. We can able to increase the font size for increasing visibility of our output. That's not coming here. Okay. You can able to see, are able to see the output got maximized. So by clicking the particular output, if you increase your mouse, if you drag your mouse upwards, it will visible your output in bigger manner. So now we can able to go for the second program. I hope you understand the first program. So I will give the exercise at last so that you can do in the exercise part. For every program, I will give one exercise. So the exercise can be done in the Google Classroom. So let's go for the second program. So second program, what we are doing actually. Second program, we are simply creating a variable. So first program, we done with the variable and we just created two objects and we displayed the particular value here. In the second program, what we are doing with use of string actually. We are using with use of string x equal to, I'm giving my college name. So here we are dealing with the string and we are created two different classes. The previous program, we are using a single class. Inside the class, we are having the main function. So in the second, I modified the variable as a string variable and I am just displaying, accessing everything and displaying the things. So what I am doing here is I am created two classes. Class first one, that is the first class. Inside the class first one, I am creating a string variable x and I'm creating second class second 2. Inside that, I am creating the public static void main function. So I have to access the first class. For accessing the first class, I have to create the object for the first one. So first one space my obj1 obj, I am creating the object name. So my obj is the object for the first class, and with use of that object, I am calling the x value. So obj.x, if I am giving, means it will just access the x value and display as output here. So the thing what you have to understand, when you are having the same class, when you are writing the code inside the same class, you have to write the object inside the main function. The same thing, if you are having two classes, you have declared the variable in the first class. That variable can be accessed in the second class. Inside the second class, you have to create the object for the first class. And you have to call the value with use of the object. So now let's execute the second program. So here I am just executed and it's showing the output as subdegree, because in the second class, we declare the variable as subdegree, that is a string variable. X we are printing here through the object created for the class 1. Do you have any doubts in this, students? Any doubts in the first program? Okay. Let's go for the third program. So what is the third program? What is the modification we done in the third program? So here in the third program, we declare the x value outside of the main function. As first program, we declare the x value outside of the main function. And what we are doing is we just created the object. Please keep in mind, object we are creating for the class 3. For class 3, 3 obj1 is equal to new 3. 3 obj is equal to new 3. We are creating two objects, obj1 and obj2. We are creating two objects. What the thing we are doing is obj2.x we are doing. Obj2.x we are updating with 25. Keep in mind, we are accessing the x value with use of obj2 object 2, and we are updating the value 25 to x. What happens now when we are printing obj1.x? It will print the same 5. When you are using obj2.x, we are getting 25 because with use of obj2 object, we updated the x value. So 25 will be referred by x now. And when you are printing obj2.x, it will just display 25 as output here. When you are giving obj1.x, it will just display the old value what we have at starting. So you have to understand with use of which object we are updating the value, that object will be updated and that will be referred, and the previous object will be showing the same value as it is. Now let's execute this program. So when you are executing this program, what the value you are getting, as I told, the 5 will be shown for object 1 and 25 will be shown for object 2. 5 will be shown for object 1 and 25 will be shown for object 2. Okay, students. Did you have any doubt in this program? Did you have any doubt in this program? So I'm doing one modification in this program. You just tell me the output for this. I'm updating my obj 1.x equal to, okay, my obj 1.x equal to my obj 2.x, my obj 2.x. Here O should be capital. Okay. Now tell me what is the answer for, what is the output we will get? What is the output we will get, Pa? Anyone can respond? Students, are you there? Yeah, can you respond me the output? What is the output we will get here? What is the output we will get here?
25, 25.
25.
25, 25. Very good. Because what we are doing actually, 5 we are storing in x. Then what we are doing, 25 we are storing in obj2.x. Again, we are updating the obj1.x with obj2.x. obj2.x value is 25. That will be updated in obj1.x. So when you are printing the two values, we are getting 25 as output for both the values. Let's execute this program and check the output for this. So 25, 25 we will get for 2 times. Okay. So I hope you understand this program. Next to this, we will go for the fourth program. So fourth program, what the modification we are doing? There is one variable declaration named as final. Final int x equal to 10. When you are declaring final int x equal to 10, that particular variable will not be modified further. So that will be fixed as 10 only. You are not able to modify that particular variable in any step further. If you are trying to modify, it will show an error. So what purpose we are using final? For example, you are making one entire program. The pi value you're going to declare as a constant value. Wherever program you are writing, whatever program you are writing, if you are declaring some constant values, you can use final. In my example, I am declaring the pi value as final value, final int, final float, pi is equal to 3.14 I am declaring. So further in the entire program, the pi value will not be modified anywhere. So whenever they are using pi, it will be 3.14 only. If I try to modify the pi as 8.67, it will show error. Did you got my point? So the pi value, the constant value, wherever you want to use in the program, if you don't want to modify the values, you can able to use final. So here we are using the x value as final value, so that we are declaring as 10. The 10 will not be modified anywhere in the program. So what we are doing, public static void main and for my obj, that is the thing, the class name is 4. So 4 object names equal to new 4 we are creating. So object name we created here. Now object name dot x we are doing. So what happens, object name dot x, it will just display the value x. So what is the x value here? What is the x value? What is the output here? Can you
10.
tell me? 10. Very good. Now I am executing the code. Let's execute the code. I am getting 10 as output. Okay. Now what the thing we have to understand here, I try to modify the value. I am removing the comment line, what I commented here. I try to modify the variable. So my obj.x equal to 25 I am giving. So what happens? It will show error here. All of a sudden it show what it's showing the error. Cannot assign the value for final variable x. It's showing the error. So I am trying to execute this code. It will show the error in the execution. What the error it's showing actually? It's showing the error as cannot assign a value to the final variable x. Whatever the error we seen there in the NetBeans software, the same error it's showing in the output. Okay. For this reason only we are using the NetBeans software. Whatever the thing you are executing, if you are finding the error in the particular line, it will show a error warning here itself. In the normal execution mode, after the code execution only we can able to get the output whether the code will execute fine or not. But in the NetBeans software we have the advantage that at the error line it will show the red symbol, so you can able to identify that there is error in the particular line. So what you have to understand from this particular program, the final variable whatever you are declaring, that will be constant, that will be not modified in the entire program. If you try to modify, it will show the error in the program execution. Did you have any doubt in this program, students? Any doubt in this program? Okay, let's move for the next program, fifth program. So what is the fifth program? We are having the fifth program is said to be class with methods. We are creating class with methods. So one is static method, another one is normal public method. So how you are accessing those methods inside the program, we are going to check here. So we are creating the class name as 5. Our class name is 5. So inside the class, we are creating the object static method. We are creating static void my static method. That is the first method you are creating here. That is a static method. Okay, if you are giving static as a keyword before the method, that is come under static method. Okay, so static method whenever you are creating, that has to be called by creating object for the class. Okay, it will not be called automatically. You have to call without the object. You can call the static method without the object. So here I called with object. You can call the static method without the object. Okay, that is one advantage of static method. So here, if I am not giving the object for the static method, it can be called automatically. Okay, so that is the benefit. So here public method, my public method I am giving. So that is the public normal method. Inside that public method, whenever you are creating public method, that has to be called by creating objects. So what I'm doing here, I'm creating the object for the class 5. So my object, you are creating the object name as my object is equal to new 5 I'm giving. So what happens, my object dot public method I'm creating. So what happens, it will call the public method and it will display public methods must be called by creating object. And I am just directly calling the static method without object. I removed the object before the call. Just I am calling the method directly, like your C program. So C program, you will call the method directly from the main function, like that I am calling. So when you are having static method, that can be called directly without object. So it will call this method and it will display the output. So let's see the output for this program. So we got the output for this program. Public methods must be called by creating objects. Second one, static methods can be called without creating objects. So these two statements are displayed as output. This statements inside the public method, the second statement inside the static method, what you are getting as an output here. So let's see our program. So did you have any doubts in this program, students? Please ask me if you have doubts. So I will rectify your doubts. Don't be ideal. Okay, let's go for the sixth program. So sixth program, what we are having is, we are having a program that will have parameter as a function. We are calling the function with use of parameter. So parameterized function we will tell. So what is the parameter? We have to pass the parameter when you are calling the method or function we will tell. So here the class name is 6. Whatever the class name you are giving, that is 6. So here we are having two methods. One is non-parameterized function, one is parameterized function. Let's consider the function name as full. Okay. The first function name is full, second function name is speed. So wherever you are having the function, that you have to change as full. So here the function first name full, what we are having, the car is going as fast as it can. So that is the statement you are printing inside the first method. So full method having the car is going as fast as it can. That the statement will print when you are calling the full method. When you are calling the speed method, what happens? The max speed where it is getting, it's getting from the parameter. So we are passing integer as parameter. So wherever the max speed you are getting, that will be displayed as output here. So max speed is, it will just display the max speed of that particular car. So next to this, we are creating the main function and creating object for the class 6. So 6 for class 6, we are creating my car as a object. So 6 my car is equal to new 6. We are creating object for the class 6. With use of my car object, I am calling two methods. One method is full, another method is speed. Full method I am calling directly because full method doesn't have any parameter. So it will display the car is going as fast as it can. It will display as output. When you are calling the speed method, so speed method we are having the parameter. The parameter is 200. So this 200 will be called and it will just put in the max speed variable, and max speed variable will be retrieved here. The value will be retrieved and display as max speed is 200. It will display as output. Okay. So one method we are calling without parameter. Another method we are calling with parameter. That is the difference. This is the program resembles the parameterized function. This program resembles the parameterized function. Let's execute this program and see what is the output it's showing. You can see the output. The non-parameter function shows the output as the car is going as fast as it can. So that is the output it's showing for non-parameterized function. For parameterized function, it's showing the max speed is 200. The 200 value we retrieved from the main function, and that is displayed as output here. Any doubts here for students? Please ask me. Any doubts here? So we discussed how to create object for the class. We discussed how to create object for a class in other class. And third one, we discussed on how to deal with final variables, and we discussed on how to deal with modifying the value for a variable, whatever we created. And then we discussed about methods, calling methods, and static methods, normal methods, all these things. And the current program resembles parameterized method. Parameterized method, we are passing the value and we are calling the value. Particular function will retrieve the value and display the value as output. So these are the 4 different cases we discussed. We are moving for the 7th program. So 7th program, what we are doing actually, we are having the class 7. Inside the class 7, we created a variable x. Keep in mind, we created a variable x. What we are doing then, we are creating the constructor for the class 7. We are creating the constructor for the class 7 and we are passing the parameter. And what we are doing, x is equal to y. What the value we are getting here, that will be stored in x. And finally, what we are doing, we are creating the main function. Inside the main function, we are calling the constructor and we are passing the value for the constructor. The value will be 5. So when we are telling a particular thing is a constructor, when the class name and the constructor name is same, then we can able to tell that particular thing is a constructor. So to call the constructor, when you are creating object for the constructor will be called automatically. And the value 5, what we are passing here, that will be stored in the y, and the y will be stored, update the value of x. Now we are just calling the x value. So with use of the object, we are calling the x value, my obj.x we are doing. So what happens? What is the x value here, pa? What is x value here? What is the output for this program? What is the x value will be printed as output? Can you tell me?
5.
5. Very good. 5 is the output for this program because y value is updated in the x. X is nothing, it's the starting. So y value will be updated in the x. The y value what we are passing is 5. So it will just display the output as 5 for this program. Let's check the output for this program. So 5 we are getting as output. Now We are moving for the next program, 8th program. Are you understand the constructor part in this particular code, students? Any doubts, please ask me. So constructor, same name as class name. It will be called when you are creating object for the class. Constructor will not have any return type. We are not using any void before the constructor name. That is the rule. So we are not using any void. If you are giving void, that will become as methods. That will become as methods. Okay. Let's go for the 8th program. 8th program deals with method overloading. Method overloading, the rule is method name will be same method name with different parameters. You can see plus method is the method name. Here also plus method, the same method name with different parameters. Here the parameter is integer parameter. Here we are using double parameter. That is the difference between the methods. So that is called as method overloading. According to the parameter, it will call the particular method. According to the parameter, it will call the particular method. So here I'm just doing two different operations. When it is integer parameter, I am doing addition operation x plus y. When it is double parameter, I am doing multiplication operation x into y I am doing. So let's see the calling of these methods. So here public static void main I am using. So inside the public static void main, what I am doing, plus method I am calling 8, 5. I am calling the plus method with 8, 5. Can you tell me which method will be called? Which method will be called? First method or second method? I am passing parameter as 8, 5. Which method will be called? Whether the first method or second method?
First method.
First method.
First method. Why the first method? Because 8 and 5 are said to be integer variables. 8 and 5 are said to be integer variables. When you are calling a method with use of integer variables, that particular method will be called. So 8 will be stored in x, 5 will be stored in y, so that 8 plus 5, it will be written as output to here, to the calling place, and that will be stored in my num1. So what is the answer stored in my num1? What is the answer stored in my num1, pa?
13.
13, very good. 13 is the answer stored in my num1. What happens? 8 value is, x value is 8, y value is 5. So 8 plus 5, 13. 13 will be written back to the called place, and that will be stored in my num1. So my num1 value will be 13. Okay. Now let's go for the second one. So what is the second one actually? Plus method 4.3, 6.26. So which method will be called here? Which method will be called? Second one. So here x value is what actually? What is x value? What is x value?
Double.
10.3.
4.3 is the double value. Okay, 4.3 will be the x value. What is the y value?
6.26.
6.26. Very good. So we are multiplying 4.3 with 6.26. Can you tell me the answer? It will return back the value to here, and it will stored in my num2. Can you tell me by multiplying those values? 4.3 into 6.26. Repeat.
26.91.
26.918.
18.
26.918 is the answer that will be stored in my num1. Let's see the answer. Okay. Now what I am printing? I am printing my num1 and my num2 as the output. So let's see the output for this particular program. Very good. So int 13, the value for first one is 13 is the output. Second one is 26.918. So you calculated correctly. So we are getting these two outputs as program output for the current program. So this is the program what we executed as method overloading. So method overloading is our program. So did you have any doubt in this program, students? You can create multiple methods with the same name by passing different parameters, and you can call those methods with use of the same parameter value, so that you can get the output for those methods. Okay. So let's move for the next program. So next program, the 9th program, we are dealing with constructor overloading. So constructor overloading, what I told, what is a constructor? What is constructor? How we can tell it is a constructor? Can you tell me the answer?
Same name as class.
how we can tell the particular declaration is same as class name? Very good. So when you are having the constructor name that is same as class name, then it is said to be constructor. So here, what is the class name? Class name is 9, and we have the class name same as the constructor name. So here NINE I am giving. So here the class name and the constructor name is same, and we are not having any return type, and that why we are telling this particular statement as constructors. Now constructor overloading. Let's go for constructor overloading. Constructor will be same constructor name with different parameters. Okay, same constructor name with different parameters have to be constructor overloading. So here we are what we are having x and y we are having both are integer variables. So here we are having double variables, double x, double y. So what we are having, we are just doing addition operation of x plus y in the first constructor. Second constructor, let's do the multiplication operation x into y. So what will be the difference when you are getting integer values? It will do the addition operation of those integers. When you are getting double value, it will just do the multiplication operation for those double values. So that is the difference between those constructors. So what is the other thing when you are dealing with constructor? No need to call the constructor with use of the object. When you are creating object for the constructor, it will be called automatically. So that is the rule. So what happens when you are creating object for the class? When you are creating object for the class, 9 obj1 is equal to new 9 8 comma 5. So this particular statement will call the first constructor. So it will just put the 8 in x and 5 in y. So it will just display the output. What is the output here, pa? What is the output it will display here?
13.
13. Very good. So it will just call this constructor. Very good. Very good. It will call this constructor and just display the output as 13. So constructor 1 will be displayed the output as 13. When you are going for the second one, you can see obj2 we are calling we are creating the object for the class 9, and we are just passing two values 4.3 and 6.26 as parameters. So we are just calling the constructor 2. What is the double value of x? What is the value will go for x? What is the value go for x?
4.3.
4.3. Here we will make the value as 11.26. Okay, let's modify the value as 11.26. 11.26 will go for y. Okay, now we are doing the multiplication operation x into y. So what is the value we will get? 4.3 into 11.26. So what is the answer we will get? Can you multiply and tell me?
48.418.
48.418. Very good. Let's see the answer. Let's see the output for this particular program, whether we are getting the same thing. Yes, we got the same thing. The first constructor displays the output as 13. Second constructor displays the output as 48.418. Okay. So this is said to be constructor overloading. I hope you understand this program. So constructor overloading mean by same constructor name with different parameters. Constructor doesn't have any return type. What is in the return type? Void 9. Int 9, float 9, like that. It will not display anything before the constructor name. That is the rule for the constructor. And third rule, what is the third rule? To call the constructor when you are creating object for the class and passing the parameters, the particular constructor will be called automatically. No need to call the constructor with use of the object separately. Okay, that is the third rule. Okay, I hope you understand the constructor overloading program. Any doubts in the constructor overloading program, students? Any doubts in the constructor overloading program, students? Okay, let's move for the next program. So what is the next program? We are dealing with method overriding. Method overriding program. Okay, what is mean by method overriding? We are dealing with inheritance concept here. We are dealing with inheritance concept here. So when you are having the base class and we are having subclass. What is mean by base class and what is mean by subclass? When you are having some variables in the base class, whatever you are seeing in the first class bank, you are seeing, no, whatever the properties in the base class, variables or methods, that can be accessed by the subclass. That is said to be inheritance concept. So how to access the base class in the subclass? You have to use the keyword extends. Extends is the keyword that is used to access the properties of base class in the subclass. Okay, so let's consider this particular program. So here what we are doing is we are just created the method. The method name is get rate of interest is the method name, and that method will return 0. So that we are declaring the method in the base class bank. So we created the class named as bank. Inside the bank we declared the method, and that will return 0 value as output. When you're calling this bank with this particular method, it will return the value as 0. Now let's come for the first subclass. First subclass is SBA. Class SBA extends bank. So in the subclass SBA, what we are doing is we are overriding the particular method that is to be get rate of interest. We are just overriding the get rate of interest method, and we are just returning 8. The rate of interest is 8 for SBA. The same thing we are overriding in the ICICI Bank class, mean by class ICICI extends bank. So in this class also we are overriding the get rate of interest method, and here it will return 7. For the third class Axis, we are having extends bank. So here we are just overriding the get rate of interest method and returning 9. Keep in mind we are using the same method. So when it is in bank, it will return 0. The base class, the same method will return 0. When we are going for the subclass, first child class, we are returning the value of 8 for the same method. In the second subclass, we are returning the value of 7 for the same method. For the third subclass Axis, we are returning the value 9 for the same method. Okay. So we are overriding the method get rate of interest for all the subclasses. Now let's go for the main class. So what we are doing the main class name is 10. Inside the main function, we are creating object for all the subclasses. Keep in mind, we are not creating object for the base class. We are creating object for SBI. We are creating object for ICICI. We are creating for object for Axis. So when you are doing this particular object creation, what happens with use of this particular object, you can able to call that method inside the particular object, particular class. So SBA, we created the object as S. ICICI, we created the object as I. Axis, we created the object as A. Okay. So S dot get rate of interest. What will be the output here? S dot get rate of interest. What the get rate of interest inside the SBI method will display. SBI method will return pa. 8. Very good. Because SBI object we are created, and with use of that object we called get rate of interest method. So inside SBI object we have get rate of interest method. So that will return 8. So 8 will be come here and display as output here. Now we are calling the second method for I. So I is the object for ICICI class. With use of I, we are calling get rate of interest method. So in that case, what is the value we will retrieve here?
7.
What the value we will get here?
7.
What the value we will get here, pa?
7, sir.
What the ICICI class will return? Did you understand, students?
7, sir.
Network. Hello, are you able to hear me?
Yes, sir.
Students, are you able to hear me?
Yes, sir.
7. Very good. 7. What about the last one? Last one we are calling with A dot get rate of interest. A is the object for the Axis class. When you are getting with Axis, when you are calling with Axis class, when you students are able to hear my voice?
Yes, sir.
There was a connection lost. Okay. Are you able to understand all the programs what I explained? So we got the output 8, 7, and 9. I am presenting you the NetBeans thing. Are able to see the output screen, students? Are able to see the output screen for the last program? So 879 is the output what we are getting for the 10th program. Any doubts in the 10th program? We are using method overriding concept. This will be come under polymorphism. Polymorphism mean by what? We have shape as the generic class. From shape, we are making triangle, rectangle, and circle. So with use of the base class, you can able to access the base class properties and you can do your own work. So that is come under polymorphism. So that what we are trying here. The gate rate of interest will be common for all the banks that we are putting in the bank class. With use of that method, we are calling for other banks, SBI, ICICI, and Axis. All the banks having their own rate of interest. So that we are returning to the calling class where we are calling that we are returning and displaying as output. Any doubts, please ask me. So for this programs, I will give you some exercise in the Google Classroom. Please try those exercise and upload the program in the Google Classroom itself, students. I hope you understand these programs. You have any doubt means ask me separately, privately. I will respond you and clarify your doubts. So thank you very much. Tomorrow we are having the lab session. So lab session we will clarify all the doubts. Thank you, students.